Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Old Barney's Hobby Handiwork. And it is October 22nd, Sunday, and it is beautiful out, and this has got to be probably one of my last times doing hobby work outside for this year. Have to probably move back inside for the winter, rest of the fall and the winter. But taking advantage of this last really nice day to sit out back. Pretty much taken the last month off of doing hobby work after getting ready for the event I ran in late September, which was Hobbits Only Second Breakfast Guaranteed, which was just a fun non-competitive event held at the local library here, which went really well. But took a break and didn't do much hobby work. We had a tournament yesterday here as part of the OSBGL tournament schedule, so we all went down to that. A bunch of us went down and had a great time there. That tournament was hosted by Blackfire Productions, and Taylor Sinstad was the TO for that one. Did a great job. It was held in Brantford, Ontario as part of the Council Fires convention, which is the first time I've been to that convention, and it was really good, really well run little convention. Certainly not a huge thing, it's just in one sort of large ballroom, but they have like 3 or 4 vendors there, and tons of different games being played, a lot of historical stuff, a lot of convention style games, and we had our tournament there. I think we were probably the biggest group there. We had an 18 player tournament, which was really good for us. And anyway, I'm sure I know we recorded a video to do a hobby vlog, so probably may already have put that up by now, but and Blackfire I think is going to put something up about it as well, so we'll get more coverage of that. But anyways, back at the hobby work for me now, and just wanted to I'm always working on a whole bunch of different things at once. I'm a very unfocused hobbyist. My wife is over there nodding her head. So I'm still working on my Greenstuff troll, still painting up various different miniatures, and I love working on terrain. I prefer that much more than painting miniatures, actually. So always working on different terrain things, or grabbing stuff that I think can be used on terrain projects, and yesterday was no exception. I picked up a couple of things at one of the vendors that was at the convention yesterday, so I'm going to show you those and a few other things that I've been working on or plan to work on. And yeah, so we'll take a look at that in a second. Okay, so this is what I picked up yesterday at the convention. Just a few resin cast items here, which are really good for SBG, and these are done by a local kind of, I guess, a hobby company called 6 Squared here, and quite sure they have a internet site as well. But they were there with a ton of product yesterday, so I got 2 of these, which are little haystacks, 28mm haystacks. So I got a figure here for reference. So that's an Uruk-hai Scout model there, so you can sort of see the size of these and how high they are. Let's see if I can manhandle those again. Really good scatter terrain. So I got 2 of those. And these are all like, you know, $3 or $4 each, these things. These are like large hay bales. Again, really good scatter terrain. May pick up another one, a set of those. Those come 3 in a set. And this one is like a water trough. So I got those 3 things. And I got a package of these, which are laser cut 60mm round MDF, what would you call these, tiles, I guess. And I actually needed a bunch of those for a piece of terrain that I already have, because these fit into this piece of terrain. Now this piece of terrain was, I've shown this before on another video. One of our guys in the OSBGL, Ben Klinsky, or Ben Boomer, he makes these, and this is a fantastic terrain piece. I have, I think, 4 or 5 of these, and they are so good. So what he does when he sells them to you is he sells them to you with these trees, and comes with 5 trees. So that's basically what it is. It's a little forest area terrain, but with that he usually gives you 5 of these markers also, which are either bare with like almost nothing on it, or have these rocks on. And he's got, you know, that one has a couple small rocks, so this one's got some bigger stuff on it, and this one's got even bigger stuff on it. So sometimes I use these just populate it with these rock things, and you can make this an area of difficult ground, or just play it as is line of sight blockers, and have some trees on one end if you want. What I did was I was at a local hobby supply place, and they were selling this stuff. I don't know if you can see that well through the bag. I got one here that I can open, and these are for architectural modeling, and they're like a squishable, squeezable bush or tree. Supposed to be like a coniferous type thing, and they come in different shapes and sizes, and you can actually shouldn't have closed that up, make a mess here. Like these ones, this one I was showing you is round. This one's actually in the shape of a tree already. These are in small trees. These are like smaller round bush. And even these big ones, you can, like this one here's one that I've actually cut it in half with a pair of scissors. So I bought this stuff because I wanted to have some sort of mid-level line of sight blocking terrain for these footprints that Ben makes that weren't rocks, because you can see like these trees, the cover is all up high, like down low where the miniature is, it's the tree trunk. Still a wonderful piece of terrain, but not a huge amount of cover there for miniatures. So I picked up that stuff and I grabbed all of these discs that Ben had made that had very little on them, like no rocks or anything. They were just basically like this kind of gravelly surface with a bit of flock and stuff on them. And what I did was I started adding these little trees to them. So you can see a few examples here. Let me see, do I have any more? Yeah. So then I got like a couple ones with a little bit bigger stuff on it. So this is just another, like it's a third option for me to populate these when I go to play. So basically you're using this one piece of terrain. Now I'm not going to be able to get that one out. Use this one piece of terrain and you can play with it in like multiple different configurations. Like I can go with like all this type of low-lying sort of bushes and stuff, or you know, I can swap this stuff out for all these large like rocks, or add in like trees as well. Just makes this terrain piece like really versatile. And so what ended up happening was I ran out of these, so I want to use, I needed more of these, and it sort of occurred to me after I got this stuff that, you know, you could put stuff like this on here as well. You know, like this kind of thing. Put the other one like up top there maybe, if you wanted. And like I have some like Herstarts molds as well, which makes up similar, although smaller pieces to this. Like crates and barrels, you can do the same thing. And I often use this stuff now just as a scatter piece of terrain by itself, like without the large base. So this stuff turned out to be, you know, I picked up 4 or 5 of these off of Ben, and I don't need a whole lot more in terms of, you know, trees and bushes and rocky ground. Because this stuff, it, like for one board, for my board at home, it's all I need. It's so versatile. Now it's just a matter of, you know, I'm looking at houses or custom built pieces of terrain, ruins and all that kind of stuff, to sort of give me more variety, most of which I have that stuff already. So you know, I love making terrain. The problem is that once you make it, you got to find somewhere to put it, and that's what I have a problem with, is just lack of space. Well, I got lots of space, it's just full now. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on there, and I will put all my hobby stuff back on my little table here now and be back in a minute. Okay, so I am back here with my now normally very messy working area. All my stuff back on here. This is a little guy that I got a while back, and got it from Shadow and Flame, and it's their mounted Dwarf Adventurer. Using him for a Battle Company's character, for a Dwarf Ranger, so he's perfect for that. So I put him together and started working on him. The character in my Battle Company just got a pony, and it's good for that because he suffered a leg wound, so he's only moving 4 inches a turn now. So hopefully now he'll be good with his new pony. So working on that guy. Still working on this big boy. My Isengard troll, Greenstuff troll. I haven't done anything with him directly, but I did get some milliput to try using, and a lot of people recommend mixing milliput with Greenstuff 50-50, and it makes your life much easier when working with that material. Greenstuff, it's an amazing product, but also very difficult to work with for me anyways, simply because it's so sticky. You know, you can manage that problem by keeping everything wet all the time, but it is a bit of a pain in the butt. So I did try using a 50-50 mix of that, just tried an experiment and rolled out a piece of flat material here, which is hopefully going to end up being this troll's shield. So taking this piece here, and it's going to end up being half of the shield for my my scratch built guy. So that's what I'm going to use that for. It's going to have to be trimmed down. It's a little bit big. But yeah, I'm going to make another half of it and sort of fold it over and put rivets all down the length of it. Want it to look a little bit different than the other shield. So that's my experiment, using the 50-50 Greenstuff and milliput. And wow, it's just a completely different product when you mix the two together. It's much softer and far easier to smooth out, and it's dramatically softer to the point where it's a completely different experience working with it. So got to get used to that now as well, but hopefully that'll enable me to get the final bits on this guy. Just need to get the belt done, and then I'm going to be mounting some shield plates across here, and then there's some areas over the model that I just need to apply like a thin coat of milliput that I can, you know, really smooth out, because it's got some ugly bumps and a few fingerprints which are unavoidable, or seams where chunks of green stuff come together. And you know, I've done my best to get rid of them or cover them, and done a decent job, but it's not perfect. So hopefully the milliput will help with that. And last thing for right now is this much neglected miniature, and that is your Rohan Warhorn guy from the command pack. So I'm going to be cutting this guy off the sprue and putting him together, and then trying a conversion on him, and this has to be done by the end of this week, so that's a long shot, honestly. I doubt I can do it, but we'll give it a try. And this is for a tournament that is coming up in 2 weeks. I'm not actually using this guy in the tournament, at least I don't think I will be. Alongside the tournament, which is called Council of the Wise, which Derek Satnick is running as part of the OSBGL tournament scene, he has a contest up, which is a really different and imaginative contest for us to jump into, and that is designing a custom profile for a character in Lord of the Rings that does not currently have a profile. So I know that there is a bunch of people submitting entries for this. Derek has gone out into the community, and he's got 4 guys in the international community to agree to be judges. See if I can remember who they are now. Damien O'Byrne is one. Andreas, the Norwegian Viking, is another one. Devon, DCHL Devon, is the third one, and the fourth one is Jeremy, and I don't know Jeremy's last name, from the Green Dragon podcast. So some well-known names there, and yeah, so those 4 guys are going to be the judges, and they will determine a winner, and Derek will award a prize to the winner on the day of the tournament for the best new custom profile. So my custom profile, which I've finished, I sent it in today, is for Helm Hammerhand, King of Rohan. And so I've done up a custom profile for him, and Derek asked that if possible to submit either a drawing or a picture of a converted model, or if you can maybe find a drawing or whatever off the internet, something like that. So I submitted a drawing that I found off the internet with my submission, but I really don't want to do that if I can avoid it. So I'm going to try to convert this model up to use for my Helm Hammerhand. And of course Helm has a horn, so this guy is an ideal subject. I'm going to probably replace his entire head, or at least get rid of the helmet. And he's going to have a lot more hair and a lot bigger beard, which are easy, hopefully, to convert. And my profile does not allow for a shield for that character, so I'm going to use my Dremel tool to get rid of the shield and then fix up that cloak. Helm is supposed to be a really big strapping guy, so this guy's a little bit light for that. But I only have a week, and I'm not fantastic at doing this. This will be really one of my, well, aside from the troll and a few other small things, one of my few attempts at a conversion of using Greenstuff anyway. But yeah, we'll see how this guy works out. And alongside that, I am also going to be submitting a scenario with my entry, just to hopefully sway the judges and get some bonus points. So I am going to convert this model, and I'm going to hopefully film a battle report using my scenario that I come up with. And that scenario is going to be called The Vengeance of Helm Hammerhand. And the legend, of course, is that he died at Helm's Deep while under siege from an army of Dunlandings, and during that war, both of his sons died, but one of his sons was killed by the Dunlandings at Edoras. And so after finding out, he would go out in the night, sound his horn, and wander out into the snow and go kill Dunlanding sentries. So that is going to be what the gist of the scenario is going to be. So look out for that, hopefully in a future video. Now that I've said that, I'm stuck to doing it. So there we go. Okay, so that's it for now, and I'll be back next time with some more progress, actual progress, and not just ideas. Okay, so I have managed to get just a little bit of work done on this guy. I removed his helmet and most of the nose guard. I can still see a line there, so I'm going to have to try to get rid of that. So I'm obviously going to be covering his head with hair, and then down the front of his chest he's going to have a large beard. And let me just turn this guy around. On the back of him, I was able to, let's see if I can do this now. Where is my hand? There it is. I was able to remove the shield entirely, and that will have to be, I'll have to repair that cloak, and then he's gonna have long hair coming back down his back as well. So we have started the process. Well, I have done some green stuffing and managed to give this guy a long bushy beard and some long hair. This was with a mix of Greenstuff and Milliput. And I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time finding the guy here. Let me hold on to him. And that's his hair on that side. Top. And I've just put a huge patch there where I had to dig out like a divot really where the shield was, so I'll have to wait for that to dry and then fix up that cloak area, make it look more natural. But that's it for now. Back in a while. Okay, well, it is now November 16th and almost 2 full weeks after the Council of the Wise, and so you can see I did not get this guy finished. No surprise there, but I'll continue to work on this guy, and I will finish him off, and I will film a video playthrough of the scenario that I made for Helm Hammerhand, and we'll see how that goes. The tournament, Council of the Wise, was fantastic. So many different aspects to it. I know OHA Jason talked about it in a video recently, so I won't go on about it, but Derek and his family did a great job at that tournament, and this character profile part of the tournament was a really refreshing new idea that you know, a whole bunch of people embraced it. I think there were probably about 15 profiles entered, and I think the judges picked the top 10, and I did not win. I got an honorable mention, which I think means I came in the top, you know, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. Ronan, Derek's son, actually won that profile competition, and I'll be darned if I can remember what his profile was. But anyway, it was a really good idea, and I know Derek planned to submit those top 10 profiles to Games Workshop, just kind of for their review kind of thing. I wouldn't expect they would ever adopt any of them, but hopefully they can present some new ideas and they'll at least look at them, which is kind of a cool idea. So I did do a little bit of work on this guy's cape. As with any green... Yeah, sorry, my video card ended up being full, so I had to clean that up. So, like with any green stuff project, if you're doing like a large area or a large amount of green stuff, it's not a good idea to try to do all of it at once. You have to kind of do a little bit at a time, add a bit, work with it, let it dry, add a bit more. So I have started to mold the cape back into shape there, but it'll need a little bit more green stuff on top of that. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff coming up in the near future that I'm gonna have to work on. So I really have to bite the bullet and get this troll done. So last Saturday I had the day free, and I forced myself to just sit and work on this guy. So you can see I've added the belt to him. Again, it's a 50-50 mix of green stuff. So I wrapped that around his body, and you can see I've also added some shields to the sides, 2 to each side. And those are sort of to take the place of like hanging armored plates to protect his legs. And I've just got my pin vise out and drilled a bunch of holes in there, where I'm going to be putting like twine or something to fasten those shields on there. What I tried to do was roll up some really fine, you can see them off to the side here, where are they here? Some really fine pieces of green stuff. Those are now dried rock hard because I gave up on it. I was trying to loop those in, but it just ended up being too fiddly for me. So what I am going to do is I grabbed some paper clips, and I'm going to start working with those and making like little loops like that, which I will stick in there. And those will be, you know, like rope or whatever holding those things in place. I was hoping to do a little bit more detail work on that belt, but in the end I just went with something pretty simple, and I put a latch on there as well. You can see I've removed this guy from the base. If it's not one thing, it's another. My battery died. Okay, so back again. So you can see I've removed this guy from the base I had him on. I had him on a big, I don't know what size these bases are. What is this, 80 mil or something like that? So yeah, I actually cut him right off the base because I didn't want to wreck the green stuff. And what I've done is I've added on a bunch of these. These are molded from Hearst molds. These are floor tiles. Got some spares around here. couple of different sizes. So I've added those onto the top of the base, mainly because I wanted to use those, and also, well, hey, they cover up those nasty holes in the base as well. So I'm gonna add some, you know, some gravel and sand around the outside here, and that one I had to sort of break off because it was hanging over a little bit much. So again, I've used my pin vise as well and drilled some holes in his feet, which I will stick some pins into, and we will get him mounted up on that base. So he is coming along quite well. I'm getting close to being to the stage where I will just maybe do a bit of fine sanding on a few spots and then prime him up. I have added a few spots here, like under his arm there, and there's a little spot there, and again on the back of the belt and on the leg, where I went over those areas that were really rough with a mix of milliput and Greenstuff, because it's really smooth and soft, and you can spread it out and cover over any bad blemishes like that with that material much easier than you can with Greenstuff. So those are nice, or will come out much nicer than they were anyway. So he's coming along. Hopefully be getting down to painting soon. I had started his shield last time, which I had made the panel on the left hand side, and I had filed it down a little bit smaller, and then what I did was I rolled out another sheet, which is the one on the right hand side, let it dry for probably an hour and a half, and then pried it off of what I had it on and folded that edge of it around the first sheet. It was pretty fiddly to do that actually. And then I let it dry, and I applied some glue on the inside seam here, and went along and added little round balls of Greenstuff and then pressed them down so they're like crude rivets. I mean, this shield is not neat and tidy, that's for sure. It is pretty ugly looking, but I thought, you know what, that's kind of suitable for the type of blacksmithing that these guys would have available. So I just went with it, and that's what I'm going with for the shield. So we'll get that finished up and onto his arm, and we'll get this guy, I'll get those pieces fastened into the belt and the shields, and I will get him mounted on his new base, and that will be it. Actually, I guess I'll have to prime him first and then mount him on the base, because those stones are already painted. I don't want to have to redo those. So yeah, this guy is getting to the stage where he is going to be finished. And last thing here is my Shadow and Flame Dwarf Adventurer. I have covered the entire model with paint now and given a wash as well with the Agrax Earthshade. So he is going to be ready for highlighting and whatnot, and finish him up and get him in my warband for battle companies, which is good. I did pick up the battle company, or the White Dwarf, for November, which had a couple battle companies in it, and actually it had Erebor and Dale, which is the battle company that this guy is in, but this one is of course the Games Workshop Erebor and Dale, and the one that we have been using is the fan-made one, and forgive me, I can't remember the gentleman's name who wrote that, but in that one he had included Dwarf Rangers in the list, and Dwarf Rangers are no longer in that list in the Games Workshop one, which is too bad, but I mean, these kind of changes are to be expected. Games Workshop is going to do it the way they want to do it, and that's fine. So this guy will end up having to transfer into a different battle company eventually, but but really love this model and want to get him finished. So anyway, I'm off work today and off work tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be filming some more tomorrow and showing you an almost complete troll. And I got these things to put together too. Picked up Shadespire yesterday, and I got Gore chosen I think in January. Still haven't built the miniatures, so we're gonna get building those too. Nothing to do with Lord of the Rings there, but those are both looking to be really fun games as well. So anyway, I hope to be filming again tomorrow and get this video up. Okay, it's the following day, and hopefully you can see here I've managed to get all those ties put on there on both sides, and I used paper clips. I used smaller ones, and not that big one, but used some smaller, thinner ones like this, and with some like needle nose pliers was able to bend them into shape fairly easily, and I drilled out all those holes with my pin vise there. So I think this guy is just about where I want him to be for priming. I'm going to go over and just look at the plastic bits and see if there's any mold lines in that can be removed, or if there's any other bad ones still on the green stuff. I've put pins in his feet so he can be mounted onto his base. The base, I added some gravel around the side, and you can see I've drilled the holes for the pins. I've left one of the pins quite long so that I can bend that one over once I get this guy onto the base. So I've already test fit him on there, and he fits on quite well. So yeah, I think I'm going to just take a look over this guy closely for mold lines and any other major flaws and clean those up, and then I am going to prime him up. And I was also able to put together my Shadespire guys as well, so I'll prime them up as well. Yeah, and so hopefully when I come back, this guy will be ready to paint. And where did his shield go? His shield, I think I showed this yesterday as well. Shield is ready to go. I need to put an arm strap on there, but that's going to have to come afterwards, I think. But I tested it yesterday, and it fits on his arm quite well. Just going to need, I'll glue it on, I guess, but just for aesthetics, I'll put like a little arm strap on there. I was looking at this guy. He's my regular Isengard troll. I was looking in there yesterday at what he's got in for an arm strap, and it's just a strap around his arm, really. So I can do something at least as good as that. So anyway, that's it for now. Back again, hopefully later today. Okay, well, my FrankenTroll has finally been finished and primed. I have him temporarily mounted on his base there. I've primed him with a flat gray spray paint. I found as I've gotten a bit older and my eyesight isn't quite as good as it used to be that I have a real hard time painting off of flat black primed miniatures. So the flat gray is a lot easier for me to paint off of. Yeah, so there he is. So just remember, next time you see a whole bunch of pieces left over after you're assembling a miniature, and you get the idea that you can put together another miniature using those spare parts, well, you can. You can save yourself, I think this guy's 25 pounds or $41 US, $50 Canadian, and it'll only take you about 20 hours to do it. So yeah, not sure if it's worth the effort, but it was a fun experiment, and at this point we're gonna go on to painting this guy. and we'll see how that goes. I'm not the greatest painter, but I'll do what I can on them. And I was able to actually get my my other guys here primed for Shadespire, so we'll start working on them as well. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking with it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, or give me some suggestions. I've got lots of other videos planned, so I could use your advice. Please go check out the other YouTube channels by members of our community here in Ontario, Canada. Blackfire Productions and the Ontario Hobbit Adventures, the OHA. Most of all, get your toy soldiers out and come and play some Middle-earth strategy battle game with us here in Ontario, Canada with the OSBGL. Thanks guys, to see you next time.